My name is Jeanette Townsend. I live in Valemont, British Columbia. This year I went to Yorkton, Saskatchewan for Easter celebrations with my family. While I was there, my sister gave me a brochure from an international women's conference she had attended, and one of the speakers was from a group called Nashi in Saskatoon that has become aware of child trafficking out of the Ukraine. That since 1991, 500,000 young children and women have been trafficked out of the Ukraine to work in the prostitution markets for probably organized crime. I'm assuming that much. Anyway, I read it. I was shocked by it. I went back in August, gave it no more thought, but when I went back in August, in the Ukrainian Orthodox newspaper from Winnipeg, Manitoba, there was a half-page article and ad in there about the Maple Leaf Project in Edmonton, Alberta, where they were having a fundraiser to build a safe house in the Ukraine for the orphans who are often absconded with and sold into prostitution trafficking. So I gave it, I just glanced at it with interest. I was appalled by what I read, thought no more of it. The following day I turned on the television, one of the national networks here in Canada, and there was a concluding interview with Benjamin Perrin, a law professor here at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver, and he had written a book about human trafficking. And then several days later I turned on the television and he was being interviewed by another network, probably one CTV, one CBC, and then the third time I turned on the TV several days later, again still in Yorkton, he was on the Global Network. So I felt perhaps these were little nudges that I should certainly attend that fundraiser in Edmonton. I phoned a friend of mine and we made arrangements to attend. I purchased the tickets, and a week ago, this past Monday morning, I turned on BC TV first thing in the morning to see what the weather would be, because I do have to drive through a mountain pass should I have winter tires put on. And there was Benjamin Perrin again on BC TV in the morning, right in the Burnaby studio, being interviewed about his book and the work that he's been doing to correct the injustice of human trafficking, and especially child trafficking. So that's 4 times I saw him on television, and when I attended the banquet, he was there as the main speaker, the keynote speaker. He had his books there, and I learned a lot of disturbing news, and it's the last thing, proverbially, the last thing in a million I would want to get involved with. But I have been so touched and overwhelmed and moved by the numbers of children who are being trafficked. You know, whoever is doing it, they are murdering their childhood by taking away their innocence. They are killing their futures that they would have had if these human traffickers had not kidnapped them or bought them or whatever. And I am very proud that Member of Parliament Joy Smith from Winnipeg, a Western Member of Parliament, was able to get a private member's bill passed in the House of Commons. And I understand it's the first, or one of 15 rather, private members' bills that have been passed in the House of Commons since Confederation 1867. I found it absolutely appalling that the Bloc Québécois voted against it. Also that 3 NDP members voted against it, and what is really shocking is that Libby Davies from Vancouver, an NDP member of Parliament, voted against this child trafficking criminalization bill. That is shocking, and I know that it's going to be pursued and brought to the attention of more of the public by some of the citizens who expected more of her. It has always been our understanding that the NDP stand for social justice, while human trafficking, child trafficking, and prostitution is not social justice, and we do not understand where Libby Davies and the rest were coming from. I also purchased a DVD and by Victor Malarick. I understand that it was he who brought this to the attention of many Canadians with his W5 program. I was shocked by the revelations that he gave as well. And so we now have a network in the United States, and we want to see that our governments will pass the same legislation that has been passed in Sweden, and that is that the selling of prostitution is decriminalized, but that the buying of prostitution is going to be criminalized. After all, it is, as Victor Mallory said, it's the Johns that have the money